Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. We're going to be moving through a triangle inspired practice. We're going to be working through Utthita Trikonasana, fallen triangle, and some other triangle-like shapes with our body. So as always, blocks not necessary, but sometimes useful, or something to prop yourself up on, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start seated, but you could come into a reclined position, you could come into child's pose, just start however you would typically come and start a practice in or feel more comfortable with. Whatever option you've got, if you can close your eyes, it does really help anchor us into our bodies. So just gentle closing, you don't need to squeeze your face, we're trying to release tension. And just relax your shoulders and relax your breath, relax those intentions. And of course, when you have a little bit of an idea of where we're going, we can start to think about, for some of us overthink, some of us maybe not think about it all, but if you're thinking about triangles and what that means in your body, of course you might be thinking you're going to be opening your hips a little bit. Maybe it's a challenging pose for you. Let's try to release some of those expectations as always and just try to meet each moment as it comes. Maybe if it's useful, if you're really overthinking it, visualizing some of the poses or just that simple shape. You could even breathe into a triangle shape, so thinking of the top point and taking your inhale there. And then exhale is in your mind, you draw the line down to the next point. Once you get to that point, inhaling. And as you exhale, draw the base of the triangle. Over to the other side, inhale at the point. And exhale to the next point. You can continue that type of directed, focused breath. Or just take a few more of your own conscious breaths. When you come to the end of your next breath, or your triangle, slowly starting to blink open your eyes, keeping the gaze nice and soft, the face relaxed. And we're going to make our way onto all fours. So if you're on your back, maybe some rolling. Maybe if you're upright, give your shoulders a bit of a roll. And then just find your way into a 4-point pose. And as you arrive here, we always take the time to set up. Just remembering our transitions are just as important as the poses themselves. We're trying to be connected to our bodies. And take an inhale, lift your tail, drop your belly, pull your heart forward. And exhale, round your spine, just moving through those cat-cows of your own breath. Inhale, lift, extend. And exhale, pressing, rounding. And again, full breath in. And full breath out. Coming into your neutral spine. From here, we're going to tuck the right toes into the mat and extend the left leg towards the back of our mat. Press evenly through the hands and then hopping your right foot out to the right side. Drop onto the inside of your left foot. Just come into a small little triangle shape as you reach your left hand towards the ceiling. You could look up if it feels good for your neck. Take a big breath in, breath out. Left hand comes down, right foot comes back, left knee comes back, and then tucking the left toes, extend your right leg. From here, encourage the weight to be even. Take that left foot over, drop onto the inside of the right foot, pushing into the knee, extend and spark the fingers. Take a big breath in, and then breath out, bring that hand down, adjusting left foot in, right knee in. Take a big breath in. And then take your knees out wide, bring your big toes together, child's pose, reaching your arms forward or just resting your forehead onto your hands. Take 2 big breaths here. And slowly coming up, coming back onto all fours, making your way there. Feel free to give your hips a little bit of a nudge, a bit of a wiggle. And then stacking your hands, spreading the fingers, tuck the toes, float the knees up, send it back, down dog. Pedal your feet, adjust your hips, lengthen through the back of your legs. Just but working into your space, your own body, your own energy. No comparison to how you might have felt yesterday, or just really figuring out how it feels today. When you found a bit of stillness, holding here for a breath. And then maybe lifting up onto the tippy toes, breathing out, walking your feet all the way to your hands. Take your feet about hip distance, soften your knees. You can hold on to opposite elbows or just let your arms dangle. Bend the knees enough so your belly is on your thigh, or maybe one knee at a time. Let the head move, ragdoll. Maybe sweep your body over to the sides a little more. And then finding a bit of stillness, bend your knees, releasing your arms and starting to roll up to standing. Just taking your time. Once you get up, shoulders have a nice big roll, reaching up with the gaze and the fingers. Take a big breath in, big spark, pinkies in, thumbs out. And then exhale, drop your hands through your heart. Start to allow your fold to come back into the body. Sliding your hands up onto your legs. Press your legs away, draw the shoulders back, halfway lift, inhale. And then exhale, bringing your hands down just to support. Shift the weight into your right foot so you can pick up your left foot and slowly step it towards the back of the mat. So take the time to let it arrive. Drop your left knee down, untuck your left toes. Feel free to grab something from underneath your hands and just move back and forth into your hips here. And then coming back into that low lunge, gripping the earth, lengthening through the crown of your head. Take a big breath in and bring your right hand onto the inside of your right foot. Now, if you need to bring something underneath the hand, go ahead, but taking your left foot out to the side, the right hand side, pushing into that right hand, see if you can press your knee and your tricep towards one another and float your left arm up. Take a big breath in. And then breath out, bringing that hand down. Adjust your left foot back. Bring your right hand onto the outside of your right foot. You're going to float the back knee up. Press into your hands, lift your hips, and come all the way back into a 3-legged dog. Once you arrive here, bend your knee, let your hip open, or if you prefer to keep it square and low, just kind of move around. No kind of right way to do this. I just want you to feel into your hips and be a little more dynamic. Take another full breath in and breathing out. Now touching down the right foot at any time, but start to bend the right knee, bringing the right knee forward. And you can just let the top of the foot kind of touch the ground, but take the right knee across the body and drop it behind your left wrist. So it's across the body. Drop onto the inside of your back foot, pushing your hips to the left, open up your left arm. Take another full breath in here. And then breath out to bring that hand down, tucking the toes. Let's just step it back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and out. Coming forward with the gaze perhaps, lifting up the heels, walking to the top of the mat at the end of an exhale. Find a halfway lift as you breathe in, and then forward as you breathe out. Up to standing, maybe just one breath for this one. So inhale to roll up and exhale to roll all the way back down. Find a halfway lift, breath in. This time bring your hands back to the ground, shifting the weight into the left foot to pick up the right foot and slowly step it to the back of the mat. Take the time to get it there. Drop your back knee, move back and forth through the hips. So as much little movements as you want. Maybe you want to be still, just play around. And I'll always encourage that playful element. So be curious, move into different shapes. And then coming to stillness when you're ready, hop your left hand onto the inside of that left foot, pushing the knee and the tricep towards one another. Take the right toes out to the side and see if you can float your left arm up. Take a big breath in, and then breath out to bring that hand down. Adjusting hands to frame that front foot, moving into our three-legged dog. So spread the fingers, pick up the back knee, lifting the left leg up. Now we can even keep that knee bent if we like. We can extend, open the hip, but just get into that hip joint. So maybe the foot's coming out and back and around. Don't think of rules, just think of movement. Taking another full breath in here. And then as we start to breathe out, remembering that foot can touch down at any time, because we are bringing the shoulders forward and then dropping the left knee behind the right wrist so it crosses the body. Drop onto the inside of your back foot and push your pelvis to the right, open that right hand up. Then bringing that hand down, stepping back, downward facing dog, floating it up, and just moving into our more kind of fundamental triangle shape. So our down dog more or less looks like a big triangle. Take another full breath in. That feels good. And then when you're ready, we're going to float that right leg up towards the ceiling, bend the right knee, allow the hip to open. And then slow and steady step the foot between the hands. So take as many steps as you need. Now the back knee, you can ground it. If it's an option to keep it lifted, push your heel back, lengthen your heart forward, drop into the hips a little, and then come out of them a bit. A little bend in the back knee perhaps as you come up into your crescent lunge. Take another full breath in here. And then lift up a little higher, start to straighten your front leg, and then drop onto the inside of your back foot. Now keeping your legs straight, drop that heel down, reach towards the front and back of your mat. Roll your shoulders down, a little softness in this front knee here, and that back foot, it might be turned out a bit or the toes might be pointing forward. Some people find that having the toes slightly forward, which means that we're pulling that left hip a little forward, is the more ideal way for their body to do triangle. I'll let you play around with it, but I want you to engage your legs here. So reach towards the front and back of the mat, reaching your right hand forward, and then sending that left hip back. You can slowly start to bring your right hand down. Now it might just come onto the thigh, your left arm can come up. You could bring your left hand onto your hip or floating the right hand down onto the inside. For some people, down onto the ground might be an option too. What we want to avoid is the chest sinking forward. So we just want to keep the upper body nice and open. Left arm can come up. Take a big breath in here. Then start to bend your right knee, bring your left hand down. Let's roll onto the ball of the back foot. Just come into a low lunge. Take a big breath in, dropping the hips a little. Ground your hands, downward facing dog on your exhale. Take a full breath in and out. Left leg lifts up as we inhale, bending the knee, letting that hip open. Take another full breath in, then stepping the foot between the hands. Dropping the foot forward, coming up onto the fingertips. You can always drop your back knee, dropping into the hips a little, pull the heart forward. And then lifting up out of the hips, a little bend in the back knee often helps, just helps us keep really stable. So as you come up, you can kind of feel all that stability. Take a big breath in and then start to straighten your front leg, drop onto the inside of your back foot, reach towards the front and back of your mat. Now take the time to sit up. Maybe hands are on hips. Maybe we want to check in, make sure that muscle doesn't feel too loose. We want the quad to squeeze on so it feels nice and hard here. And then we're reaching forward, sending that hip back. Remember, hand can stay on hip, floating the left hand down onto the thigh. Shin bone onto the inside, the ground, onto a block. Right hand can come up. Just take an option that works for you. And taking another couple of breaths here. And then slowly starting to bend through that front knee. Let's come back, roll onto the ball of the back foot. Let's find our lunge, lengthen the heart forward. and then stepping it back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and out. Inhale, lift the heels perhaps. You can keep the legs straight or bend them, however you want to get to the top of the mat. Feet together or hip distance, find a halfway lift, inhale, and then fold, exhale. Up to standing, big inhale, coming up. And as you exhale, dive your hands through your heart, find your fold. Move into a halfway lift as you breathe in. Shift the weight into your right foot, send your left foot back. Let's come into a low lunge. Now keeping the back heel lifted, let's pull the heart forward. Take a breath in, dropping into the hips. Then coming out of the hips a little, reach your hands up, finding that crescent lunge. On the exhale, start to straighten the front leg, drop the back heel, open up. Inhale, reach the right hand forward, and this coming into a gentle Trikonasana, coming down. Inhale, keep the front leg straight, coming back up, drop your back hand, lengthen your right hand high. And then a little cartwheel all the way down, bending the front knee. Let's come into a plank pose. Send the right foot back, knees or toes. Shift forward a little, lower to the ground. On your exhale, hug your elbows in. On your inhale, lift your heart up, cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward, step, float, walk, top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Ground the hands, shift the weight into the left foot. Stepping the right foot back, low lunge. Hands come back, drop into the hips. Take a breath in here. Take the breath out to lift up the hips, and then inhale, coming up, crescent lunge. Exhale, start to straighten, rotate around, coming into our triangle pose. Take a breath in, left hand forward, and then dropping it down for a gentle triangle. Engage the legs. When you're ready, coming back up, drop the back hand, keep the front leg straight, find that height, inhale. And then exhale, bend the front knee, cartwheel down, find plank pose. Inhale, knees or toes, shift forward a little, lower, exhale to the ground, hug your elbows in. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. And when you're ready, inhale, float your right leg up, bend your right knee, open through that hip. Take another inhale here. We're going to come into a grounded fallen triangle. So we'll pull the right knee forward, shifting towards that plank pose. Lift up onto the ball of the back foot, then drop the heel on the inner edge. At the same time, kick the right foot over to the left. Press into the hands, lengthen your heart forward, drop the hips a little, and then lift the hips, float the left hand up. Open up, pointing the toes perhaps, take a big breath in. And then breath out, left hand comes down. Roll into the ball of your back foot. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, pull the knee forward. Step the foot between the hands, crescent lunge coming up. On your exhale, start to lift the hips, straighten both legs, rotate around into that triangle position. Inhale, reach the right hand forward, float it down, Utthita Trikonasana. Exhale. Take a full breath in and out. Now keeping the legs straight, squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes, squeeze everything, come up, right hand lifts. Exhale, bend the front knee, cartwheel the hands down. Stepping the right foot back, plank pose, inhale. Low plank, so to the halfway point or to the ground. Then inhale, up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog, on and out breath. Left leg comes up. Bend the knee, exhale. Take that inhale and then step the foot forward. Bringing the knee in, drop onto the inside of that foot, so we're not stepping, we're holding. And then we're kicking that foot over to the right. Drop the hips a little, pull the heart forward. And then lift the hips, float the right hand up, extend. And then exhale, bring it back. Three-legged dog, inhale. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, lift and rotate, dropping onto that back heel, straighten the legs. Inhale, left hand forward. Triangle pose on your breath out. Full breath here. Keep the legs straight, squeeze through the legs like you're sucking up through the ground, through your feet, inhale. Exhale, bend the front knee to cartwheel the hands down, roll into the ball of the back foot. Plank pose, knees or toes. Low plank, exhale. Breath in, up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog on your out breath. Take a full breath in and out. Inhale, lift your right leg back up. Let's bend the right knee, open the hip. And this time we're going to come into a fallen triangle, but we're going to try to hover the right foot. So come forward with the knee, so bringing it all the way forward. Drop onto the inside of your back foot. Lean into your right hand, knee in, and then straighten. Left hand comes up, big breath in. Left hand comes down, three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, step the foot forward. Inhale, come up, crescent lunge. Exhale, start to straighten the legs, drop onto the inside of the back foot. Squeeze everything up from the ground, inhale. Right hand down, Utthita Trikonasana, exhale. Full breath. Keeping the legs engaged, drop the back hand, extend the front hand, inhale. And then exhale, bend the front knee, cartwheel down. Roll into the ball of your back foot. Step it back, plank pose. Always know downward facing dog is here. Low plank, exhale. Breath in. And breath out, coming all the way back. Left leg, inhale. Bend the knee, open the hip. Coming forward into that lifted fallen triangle. So pull the knee forward, really engage, drop onto the inside of the back foot, and keep the knee bent. Float the right hand up, or maybe extend. Then send it all the way back up. Three-legged dog. Crescent lunge. Inhale the fingers up. Exhale, find that straightened position. Reach towards the front and back of the mat. Inhale, come forward. Triangle pose. Remember, hands can always come to hips. Full breath. Squeezing everything up from the ground. Drop the back hand. Inhale. Exhale, bring it down. Bend the front knee. Cartwheel the hands down. Plank pose, knees or toes. Low plank, exhale, breath in. And breath out. Take a full breath in. And out. Inhale, lift up onto your tippy toes. Drop your knees out wide. Bring your big toes together, sink your hips back. Child's pose. From here, you just rest your head. We're here for a few breaths. And when you're ready, just starting to walk your hands back towards your knees, your pelvis, coming up. If you're okay, keeping your knees as they are, sitting on your heels, just bring your hands behind you. If that feels too much, bring your knees together or tuck your toes. Just bringing your hands back. Fingertips can point backwards. Just open your heart, squeeze your shoulder blades. This feels good. Lift the hips, drop the head a little. It's not camel pose. We're just trying to open up through the front of the body and the front of the hip flexors. If you want to keep the hips grounded, that's okay too. Take another full breath in here. And then breath out, coming back. Let's walk the hands back and then forward. Let's come back into our downward facing dog. From here, inhale, right leg lifts up. Bend your right knee, open your hip. We're coming back into fallen triangle. This time we're going to stay there though. We're pulling the right knee in. Coming forward, drop onto the inside of your back foot. Extend the right leg to the left. Reach your left hand up. Leg is lifted. Then we're going to drop the leg a little and then lift it back up. Just do that maybe one more time. And up. Then let it come down. Push the hips away. Open up. Then left hand meets the earth. Keep your legs as they are. Roll your heart forward and slowly lower your hips down. So when you come down, you should have a bit of an L shape here. Hands stay kind of centered, shoulder distance, looking gazes forward. And if you want a little bit more, tuck your back toes. Push that heel back. From here, take a big breath in and then start to come onto your elbows if you want a little more. Resting your head. Remembering the toes tucked at the back and pushing that heel back adds a little more, or we can drop onto the inside of the foot And if this is feeling too much, bend your right knee. Just trying to square off that left hip, so pulling that left hip forward, whatever option we've come into. Take another full breath in and out. Coming back up onto your hands. From here, we're going to press into the hands, drop onto the inside of your back foot, lifting your hips. Lift the left hand back up. And then exhale, bring it down, roll onto the ball of your back foot and just lift the knee in, step it back, downward facing dog. Take a breath or two here, no child's poses there for you too. And then when you're ready, the left leg lifts. Bend the knee, let that hip open. We're coming into our full-on triangle, so we come forward. We're going to drop onto the inside of the back foot. Remember our options. We're trying to extend the leg out. We're going to hover, then let it lower. Lift it up, let it lower. Lift it up. This time let it lower. Push the hips away, open up, and then bring the right hand down. Pull the heart forward. You can roll onto the ball of the back foot or stay on the inside, drop the hips. Legs are in that nice L shape. Come down onto your elbows when you're ready. Just remembering to tuck those toes for more or bend the left knee for less. Take a few more deep breaths. And slowly coming back up onto your hands. From here, dropping onto the inside of your back foot, float the hips up. Once again, float that right arm open, and then bring it down. However you want to get the knee in, step it back, down dog. Take a full breath in, and then drop onto your knees on the breath out. Keep your hips above your knees, untuck your toes, perhaps slide the arms forward. Melting heart, dropping your head. Take another full breath in and out. And slowly starting to creep back, sitting on your heels. Walk your hands back. Give your shoulders a nice big roll here. We're going to make our way into a seat. So from this position, just encourage our legs to come forward. We'll just start off with a nice gentle forward fold. So taking fleshy parts away from the sit bones if that feels good. Bend your knees if you need to, lifting up. And then exhale, starting to glide forward. And hands might rest beside the legs, behind the legs, or on the feet, anywhere in between. Just finding your little pull here, whatever that might look like. Maybe you're up a little higher. One final breath. And from here, we're going to come on to our backs, and that might be really slowly, or we might move a little bit more dynamically. If you're wanting to come dynamically, what we're going to do from here is just roll backwards into our plow or similar. So we're coming into that flexion, and then we're rolling the spine back. Make sure your neck stays really neutral, hands beside the hips, roll along the spine. You might not get back the first time, so you might want to come back up. And then once you come back, drop the hands, rolling back. The feet might float. You can bring your hands onto the small of the back. Wiggle your elbows in until they're really as close as they can get, and then think about dropping your toes back. If they're hovering, that's fine. You can push your back. Just holding here for a few breaths. If this isn't an option, just letting your spine come onto the ground, legs towards the ceiling. Viparita Karani. Take one more full breath in. And we'll all just exhale, starting to roll back onto our back bodies, and then hugging our knees in towards the belly. Just roll from side to side. From here, let your left foot drop down, flex your right foot. Let's make a little shape, figure 4 with legs, so space between the thighs, encouraging the right ankle on the left front of the left knee, and you can pull that left knee in. Take just one big breath here. And releasing that leg, holding your right knee in towards the belly, extend your left leg long. Let's just come into a little supine twist. Take the right knee over to the left, open up your right arm, look over the shoulder. One more breath here. And slowly come back to center. Hug both knees into your belly, just move from side to side. And then let your right foot ground, flex your left foot, bring the ankle in front of the knee, keep the toes really active. You can stay like this, or reach and grab the back of the right thigh, front of the right knee, any option. Just a couple of breaths. And letting go of that right leg, hugging your left knee in, and taking the left knee over to the right, open up that left arm. Just a final 1 or 2 breaths on this side. And coming back to center, hugging your knees in, moving from side to side, maybe a little happy baby or similar. And then getting your body ready for Shavasana if the time and space allows. So just letting your legs come out. After a class like this with these triangle shapes, you might feel inclined to really starfish the body, but you also might feel inclined to get a little bit smaller, and you might prefer to maybe roll to your side or hug your knees in for a little longer, maybe hands resting on the body. Assess where you are and move from that space. And that's more important for Shavasana than just about any pose. This is what we work towards, this place where we can find a moment of peace. And if we're not being authentic to what we need when we're lying down and resting, it's going to be a real struggle. So be with your body and your breath here. Hold the space for yourself so that you can eventually just drift off. If you have the time, give yourself a few minutes here. You can always spend longer, less or more, whatever feels good for you. Just following your breath and your body's lead the whole time. This is where I will leave you today. Thank you for joining me as always. Namaste.